Chapter 35, Loca. On Cadezzi and Augusta Avenues, there was another Latin King section. Loca took me across Augusta and through a gangway. He crossed an alley and went through a fence that led into a backyard of a 3-story building. We went to the second floor and knocked on the door. A tall, slim white lady opened the door and let us in. The white lady's name was Kay. Her apartment was a party house for the Latin Kings. There were about 7 girls and guys inside getting high. Kay had 3 kids. All were present in the same room where the drugs were being used. Loca scolded Kay about having her kids in the room, but she did nothing about it. Loca got some drugs from the people who were there and took me into the kitchen. We got high and shared personal stories. I told her how I ended up on the streets and what led to the hit we had just come from. She told me about her life as a queen and assured me that I had made a good decision when I became a king. Loca complimented me on my desire to kill a cobra to avenge a friend. "You're a good brother," she said. "There aren't many like you anymore." Her words made me feel proud, like a man. I was glad I had become a king. After about 3 hours of getting high with Loca, she wanted to take a walk to the Augusta Pool, a Chicago Park District facility that was closed at night. Augusta Pool was located about a block and a half west of Cadezzi and Augusta on Sacramento Avenues. As we walked, she told me about a gang called the Dragons that was formed on the other side of the boulevard by a couple of ex-kings. They were rivals, Loca said, king killers. She told me that the 2 guys were once very prominent in the Augusta and Cadezzi King section. They had raped a queen and were punished with a head-to-toe violation that left them both hospitalized. They got revenge by sticking up the head of the Augusta Kings for drugs, guns, and money. They started the Latin Dragons, a gang aligned against the Kings as a way to protect themselves. Loca advised me to be careful while we were at the pool, since the Dragons just might show up. About a half block from the pool, I pulled open a sewer cover and dumped the guns that were used in the hit. I still had the .25. A big hole was cut in the chain link fence that surrounded the pool so people could go swimming after hours. Although it was illegal to swim there at night, the police rarely did anything about it. We went in through the hole in the fence. There was nobody there. Loca jumped in while I stood there looking across the street for the Dragons. Loca pushed me into the pool. She jumped in after me and began dunking my head underwater. The .25 slipped out of my pants and sank to the bottom of the pool. Loca dived to the bottom of the pool and got the gun. Her t-shirt lifted up to her shoulders. She came back up. She didn't have a bra on and her breasts were exposed. I stared. "Boy, what are you looking at? You've never seen tits before?" Loca laughed. She put the gun at the edge of the pool, then proceeded to try to dunk me under the water. We were having a good time until we were interrupted by music from a radio. We looked to see 4 guys and 2 girls climbing in through the hole in the fence. I swam to the edge where the gun was and took it away before they could see it. Loca got close to me and whispered, "Let's get out of here. Those are Dragons." "Let's pop them," I whispered. "The gun may not work. It may jam," Loca answered. We left in a hurry without even looking toward them. As we left, the Dragons called out to Loca to stay and play with them. We hurried back to Kay's house, looking back every chance we got to make sure they weren't following us. At Kay's, Loca told the Kings that the Dragons were at the pool. They all began to mobilize. I was going to go with them, but Loca stopped me. She used Kay's phone to call somebody at Cortland and Whipple so we could be picked up. About 15 minutes passed when we heard a car horn. It was our ride back to the hood. When we got to the car, we heard about 8 gunshots coming from the direction of the pool. Screams could be heard coming from that direction. Then we saw a couple of guys running towards us. We got in the car and drove away before the police arrived. All 4 guys at the pool were shot. 2 died. Whether they were Dragons or not, I don't know, but the fighting between the Kings and the Dragons did intensify after that incident. We went to Loca's apartment on the corner of Cortland and Humboldt Boulevard in an apartment complex they called La Tumba, the tomb, because several people had been killed in front or inside that building. Surprisingly, Loca did not allow the Kings to come and party at her apartment. Her place was very clean and tidy with expensive looking furniture. Loca's sister, Delia, was there babysitting for her. Delia was 13 years old and pregnant. I wanted to get her high and find Cubana. Loca wouldn't let me go outside. She advised me to stay there. Lahara will be looking to pick up any brother in sight, Loca said. Loca gave me some weed and a pack of rolling papers. She pointed out a room where I could go get high. Don't worry about Cubana, Loca said. She lives here. That's her room. I went into Cubana's room and laid on the bed, looking at the decorations she had on the wall. She had a lot of drawings that were sent to her from brothers that were in prison. Most were king-queen related, but there were also many that had romantic themes. I was reading one that proclaimed true love toward Cubana when she walked in. She became upset about me being there and asked me to leave. Loca stepped in and told Cubana that she told me to go into her room. I don't care, Cubana said. He shouldn't be in there. She led me out of her room and locked the door. I stood there wondering what the hell had gotten into her. Someone came and picked Delia up. Loca prepared the sofa for me and told me to sleep there. Loca retreated into her bedroom and the apartment became dark and quiet. I was sleepy as hell, but I was afraid to close my eyes because of the nightmares I was having. Fatigue took control and I fell asleep. The nightmares returned. I saw Junie getting shot over and over again and the Shy West girl screaming for mercy as the bullets entered and exited her. I woke up in a deep sweat. My heart was pounding and I was scared out of my mind. I got up and went to the bathroom. I saw Junie's bloody face in the mirror when I turned on the light. I was so fucking startled, I pissed all over the bathroom floor. I cleaned up the mess I made and went back to the sofa. I found Cubana sitting there waiting for me. We talked about the drawings on her wall. She confessed to having a boyfriend in jail. He was a king brother named Ibarro. She met him through Loca when they went to visit the father of her kids. Cubana was 18 years old. Jabaro was 30-something. Cubana was his mule. A mule is a female who sneaks drugs in for prisoners, usually in her vagina. I figured she was having sex with him too, but she denied it. It didn't matter. We were in her room and we had sex. That's all that mattered to me. She could be the girlfriend of every guy in jail for all I cared. As long as she had sex with me, it was alright. Cubana said that she never told me about being a mule because she loved me and didn't want me to think less of her. Cubana was one of many queens used for this purpose. It is their pleasure and honor to even be considered for the task. Being a mule was one of the ways queens earned rank within the game. She would let me sleep at her place and always made sure I had something to eat. Her two little boys, Angel, 8 years old, and Tony, 6 years old, got very attached to me. They were very well behaved and polite, which surprised me. Loca warned me not to represent or even mention the Latin kings around them. I found her request kind of odd since she was a queen. I obeyed her nevertheless, not wanting to lose my newfound shelter.